Hi, this is Cindy. Today I'm going to be sharing a certain technique, which is a series of puddles all over the canvas, and I will be using my hair pick to go ahead and create a design, which is really a cool way to blend all the different colors. I'll be using the deep violet, magenta, a purple and silver, gotta put these back in place, and fluorescent pink, as well as red, vermilion, orange, and fluorescent orange. What I found out last time I did this, it came out really nicely, but I found that I had not laid out consistent pattern of these colors. So in certain areas there was less color, and so it didn't take on the pattern that I was hoping. Fortunately, not everybody's going to pick that up. So I'm going to start here, and just in lines of color, I think what I'll do is go across this way. And okay. I'm real excited because I just ordered a microphone, and it will be a lapel microphone, and that way I can pick up, provide much clearer audio. So I'm really excited about that. I found it on Amazon, and the good thing about Amazon is they let you know which kind of what the reviews are, and also if the brand is actually recommended by Amazon, which I think is a good way to verify that it's a good product. All right, so what we've got here, you can see there's a pretty good pattern. We've got purple all over. The next color is going to be deep violet, and I'm just going to add a line of color to each of these. I think what I need to do is probably, I feel like I'm a little messy here, but it's interesting because when I look at some of my videos, I may do something like this, and then I realize, oh my gosh, I forgot something over here, and so I'm going to be a little more careful to keep an eye on every part of the painting. I think what's interesting is I began doing fluid art last December 2025, and I am really still in the learning stage, and I think my expectations are pretty high on myself because of all the great artists I've seen online. And I think, you may possibly do the same thing as me, where our expectations are just so high. But a lot of the artists, they've already been painting for years. And so we need to cut ourselves a little bit of slack and know that it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes experience. Just keep on painting. Right, so far I've probably done at least 70 paintings. The ones that I felt were more entry level, I gave those away to a thrift store, so that it benefits them, it benefits me. Either a person will buy the canvas to reuse it, or they'll like the painting, and then it brings money to the thrift store, providing jobs for people, and it also helps me with the write-off. I can only write off the cost of the materials, and that's not a whole lot. However, it's better than nothing. And so I've taken 2 or 3, I think about 30 paintings there so far, to 2 different thrift stores, and I'm tempted to walk in and see if they're selling or not. Well, we'll see. Hopefully I think it's a win-win. And in the meantime, it gives me more space on my walls to hang up newer paintings until I give those away or possibly sell them. So far, I've only sold a few, and mostly just to a family member and a friend. And those were just kind of like, hey, let me pay you for this. Let me help with your paint costs. And that's totally fine with me. At this point, I'm just happy to, see that family and friends are enjoying this artwork. Okay, now what I've got is, I've got the red. And at this point, I could stop right there and see how this turns out. I'm going to go ahead, though, with my original plan, which to put two colors. And I think I may have left kind of not enough space to do this. So we'll see how that works. A lot of this is trial and error. I am not one who likes to read instructions, so even watching all of the videos of all the other artists, it still doesn't come easy to me. And so it's just a matter of trial and error and just seeing how these things turn out. So I think I may have laid out a little too much paint of the purple and the pink. So I'm going to see, okay, where do I have the red? Red, 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 red. There's less red here. I think I'll go ahead and put that there. And maybe what I'm going to need to do in this case, because I think I just put too much of the pink and purple, is just to add an extra line of red on all these little blobs and then move forward with that, because I don't think I'm going to be able to add all the other colors. So my goal here is just add the red to that, and okay, got red, red, red. I watched quite a few videos from the fluid artists for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then I thought, this is really cool, and I think I'd like to try it out, and I think it's really been nice. I'm not one to decorate my homes or my apartments because I'm just there basically temporarily, and right now I've got about 45 paintings on my walls. It's kind of funny and it's kind of cool. And I remember years ago I was going to rent a room from a lady in Del Mar, and when I went to look at the room, she had paintings basically like mine right now. They're almost every square inch, and it looks like they were all hers. And I thought, oh, she really likes her work. But I can kind of understand now how a person might do that, because it's just so it's so fun to see your own work and to bring all that color into your living environment. I think it's been pretty nice. Okay, so at this point I'm going to look over everything. I had seen a little bit of what it looked like dry paint. I removed that, and I'm right now looking at the reflection from the ring light, and that ring light, the information, if you're looking for one, it's in the description. Again, I found that on Amazon as well, and I was going to buy one that was about $200, but I just wasn't ready to bite the bullet, and I'm so glad I got this. This was about $50 or so, and it was kind of more of a no-brainer. And so far I've been pretty happy. It is challenging to find the right angle, but I was able to go onto my phone, and with my phone and the video up, I can hit edit, and from there I'm able to I can crop this where maybe here picks up my flooring. I can crop that off. I can I believe I could also adjust the level if it's a little wonky. And so I've been pretty happy with that. That gives me the flexibility I need that I don't necessarily have with this particular ring light. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to do a quick torch. You know, I went to a hardware store a few days ago to get some Floetrol, and I was bummed because they were all out of the gallon size. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to Amazon again, and you know, they deliver it. I didn't want to have to drive another 12 miles, you know, to try to locate the product. And so I went on to Amazon, and they had the Floetrol, a gallon, for about $17.50 in American dollars. And I was like, oh my gosh, why not just do it this way? I still had my membership, that one membership you can buy. It's about $16 a month. I just do that rarely. And but I got the shipping for free, and I got it that day. I was thrilled. Okay, so at this point, I kind of feel like there may be insufficient paint in between, and I did run into this last time, and I believe I filled it in, because there's just, it's likely not going to happen where, you know, this is sufficient paint. So what I can do, I do have, well, I got the purple silver. I do have the Diox purple. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there so that this all this paint flows, and there's not a lot of empty you know, white canvas showing through. And this, I believe, is a step I took last time, though the color scheme was a little bit different. So for myself, I'm a kind of in between jobs, and I'm debating, you know, what do I do next? Do I go on Social Security? Do I go back to work? Do I find a part-time job? Do I, you know, rent a room with family? Do I just rent a room? And you know, the whole thing is you rent a room, and then there's no more space to do your artwork. And you know, it's just difficult to know exactly what the next step is in my life. So I'm not sure where you're at, but maybe you can relate just to, well, just the changes in life, the different decisions we have to make, and then some of the regrets, like, gosh, you know, I wish I had been a little bit better at saving money. That definitely, if you are in that situation where you're just kind of at the beginning of your career stage, do all you can to save money, because it just gives you so many more options when it comes to, you know, facing retirement. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this, and I'm going to go along the back side, make sure there's sufficient paint along the back. Okay, I like this one. It's purple. It's a deep, deep, deep dark purple. But it kind of, I don't know. I know it's going to dry pretty dark. And putting more along the sides. All right, so I need to look one more time because I feel like this is just needs to be filled in a little more. I think this is a little bit better than doing a base color, because what I've found is if there's any air bubbles and the base is white, then you've got white popping up often, even using the torch. Okay. put a little more here. Okay, all right, so the next step, and I have to be careful here because sometimes using the hair pick, the colors just kind of all flow together. And I don't want that. I want there to be, you know, the specific, you know, having the colors lead into other colors, like right now. So this is kind of more what I'm looking for, if you can see that. It's where the design is pretty, okay, it does blend kind of at the end. So it could be I have a little too much paint here, but I'm going to go ahead and go on that side. To me, it kind of gives the 60s vibe. And it could be, maybe I just need to not dig in so deep to the paint. Nah, no, I think it's probably just too much paint. But I like it. I think too, maybe having a hair pick that is a little bit wider comb. Okay. So this is kind of how it goes for me. It's a trial and error, and it's not a bad thing. It's just different than what I expected. Now the other one that I had done, it had yellow and green as well. And what was interesting, it kind of reminded me of lizards and frogs. And though a good friend of mine, she really liked it. So I went, okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to just dab here where I see the canvas coming through, so that those sections, when I tilt this a little bit, it's going to fill in a little bit better. I have not yet torched this. I'm going to go ahead and torch it. I see a few bubbles. I'm going to just kind of slam this down a little bit. I don't know if slam is a good word for it. That's to hopefully surface any other bubbles that I may have missed. I'm going to go over that. A little bit of paint here. I'm going to dab the sides, and since this has a variety of colors, I won't just swipe it. I'm going to dab so that I can maintain some of the color variations on the side of the canvas. This side looks really good, and I am debating whether I should stretch this out or not, because there is a lot of paint on here, but as soon as I try to stretch this out, I'm going to lose a lot of the consistent pattern in here. So that's something I have to think about. And okay, a little more here. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, because I don't want there to be so much paint that there's some sort of cracking. So I'm going to tilt this way and then I'm going to take it one step at a time. Now you might see a lot of the reflection of the ring light. I'm trying to find the best position to put the ring light. It's not as cut and dry to me. All right, so you'll see that this has changed a bit, and I'm going to move the paint back this way to see if I can get some of that design back. And I'll go this way to stretch out this hair here. I think the deep purple almost looks like navy, but I know it's going to dry darker than how it currently looks. I'm going to go this way. I've been trying out a thinner recipe, and it's kind of like my success is like 30%, and it does it can get, you know, like, oh gosh, a little defeating. So it is good now and then, you know, if you're trying out something new, just return to what you've done that's successful. That's going to kind of boost your morale, and then go back to the more difficult stuff a little bit later. Okay, I'm going to double check the sides. Okay, so I am going to wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you make it a great day.